Welcome back, everyone, to White Feather's Counsel of Men. And we're bringing up men-related aspects because this podcast deals specifically with men, but we also bring up a lot of race-oriented problems and aspects because that's what we want to address, and that's what we want to provide healing for and toward. I was thinking as you were talking and you were sharing your expertise about men, I did think that, even though one of the things that we have in common, as we mentioned before, are sort of our fears. We fear similarly. We fear similarly. We might respond differently out of those fears. And I think that we also shared that we have in common this desire to be treated with dignity and respect. So my question there was, okay, well, common here, common there, common here, common again. Why the division? I want to sort of confess that it may be after those commonalities, we have to notice our experiences. Our experiences do somewhat divide us. I know as a white person and not a person of color that my experiences are vastly different than yours and other of my friends of color. And that's not bad, but that is a difference that is brought about. And sort of the confession that I make here, or that I wonder about, is maybe I have something to do with the continued divisiveness out there. Because there are times that I actually, even though I want to acknowledge and promote our likenesses and our commonalities, I don't want to trivialize the differences of experiences that we've had in the world. And so maybe I'm a little at fault of promoting the experiences beyond our commonalities. And I'm reminded, I remember in session 1, I brought up one of the most formative experiences of my life was when I was with a group of leaders-to-be in racial and dialogues of racial reconciliation, and they had us do the white privilege walk, the white privilege test. And you can Google, you can look up these words on the internet, and you can get a list of these questions. But I remember feeling so alarmed at the end of that experience because I was miles ahead, very, very many steps ahead of every other person of color. 2 white people were in this group and we were well ahead. So the experiences of my life have shaped me, and it has separated us. I mean, I could see the vast separation between the 2 white folks in that group and all the other persons of color in that group. And that's what we have to, one, acknowledge, but that we have to create some dialogue of trying to help us recover so that we can be closer, so that we can communicate. And so I think trust is a huge issue. And I think that even though we have a lot in common, there is still a lot of distrust from the get-go. Maybe they, because of the experiences we bring. I won't go any farther, but I think we're shaped so deeply by our experiences that even though they might sensitize me to a better understanding of your world and my world in the world, that it still divides and separates.
Yeah, that's that division has been in America it's like a bridge, and we just don't know how to cross over from one side to the other.
Yeah.
You know, you stay on your side, I stay on my side, and we just coexist in these two separate worlds. And until America can kind of have these hard, truthful conversations, you know, the question: can we really embrace the word of reconciliation? You know, what does that mean at the root of that? You know,
Yes.
and that's why I love the work of John Meacham. You know, he always talking about, and I use that term for you, about the better angels among us. You know, that America will not be as stable as it is today. We're still a young country when you think about. We're a very young country, but how stable this country has been. And we've had our ups and downs and periods when the country kind of felt like, according to him, it was going to fall apart. You know, the Civil War was one of them. All kinds of, almost like every so often, past generations of different types of conflicts we've had in this country. Well, when he refers to these better angels, you know, he pulled that from Abraham Lincoln, who used it in his first inaugural address. He was talking about better angel, and that was right on the eve of the Civil War. We're talking about a period in America where there was a major division between the country, North and South, and thousands of men killed. But we got through that, and then we got through the civil rights, and then here we are again, still trying to get a voting rights bill. Makes no sense to me. I mean, when you look at history, just why are we repeating something that should have been addressed years ago? You know, everybody should have the right to vote. Why do we even have to have a law passed for you to have freedom to vote? You know, it should be one system, a simple system that everybody can do the same thing. You know, the state rights stuff is, I never understood that. But when you talk about divisions, and, you know, it's like my wife and I were discussing if we wanted to downsize. You know, our home, our kids are gone now. This house is kind of too big for both of us, right? So, you know, a lot of financial people tell you get a certain age, you know, consider downsizing. Your kids are gone, it's just you and the wife. Downsize. You know, maybe move to a warmer climate, get you a little bungalow somewhere. So we were talking about that. And then we had to decide, well, what states we want to move to. And I said, well, I don't want to move to this state or that state. So why not? Well, the governor, he's kind of crazy. You know, making decisions like that is people of color. You know, if moving to a state based on its history in regard to, I told her one time, I mentioned to her one time that I wanted to travel, have the opportunity to travel through the Deep South. I want to go to Mississippi. I want to go to Louisiana. I want to go to deep parts of Texas. And my dear wife told me, you go by yourself. I'm going there. I said, you want to go there? I said, no, I don't want to go there. It was fear. It was fear. You know, just based on history, right? And, you know, these kind of things live with people. And it's no different from white people. And they say, well, you don't want to go to that section of town, or you don't want to go to that section of town, and, you know, don't go on that street. And it's all based on fear. And as you said in the opening, that fear has always been a tool that people can use for their own political movements or just keeping people separated. Fear is a very useful product if that's what you want to create for people, to separate people.
Yeah, it's very controlling.
It's very controlling. Yeah. Very controlling. And it would make someone, when you said that you may sometimes have a tendency that you may feel a certain advantage as a white male. But you don't, then at the same point, it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. And that's kind of termed as latent tendencies. You know that there's a certain advantage, but the question is, what do I do to try to make it more even? Or if I push too hard, will that cause some kickback on me? You know? And I think a lot of folks that may look at something, know it's wrong, but don't want to address it because you may get the forces that want to keep things the way they are turning on you. You see, and I think that's always been one of the things that that keeps division alive in our culture. But again, it's always that give and take, because you're always going to have people that speaks the truth. Even if they catch some heat about it, they still will speak it, you know. And that has to come from everybody. If we can somehow create an open, safe place where people can talk their truth and not fear some type of negative reaction to it, then I think we heading down a road that we can all feel good about.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was getting at when I mentioned the word trust.
Yeah.
We need that deep level of trust in each other, getting beyond that fear.
Right.
Because fear oppresses.
Yeah.
And fear has oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
And it will continue to. It can be a very alarming and disarming and controlling kind of emotion. For the one presenting the fear and the one who is fearful.
Yeah.
Why don't you spend the next few minutes maybe telling our listeners and those that are with us maybe a little bit about what to expect in coming weeks and where we might go.
This is our 4th session. We are so excited about moving forward. We will be going live in several weeks in regard to you being able to call in with your questions or comments. You'll also be able to email us. We'll be sending out a white feather email address where you can email us, or you can be able to call us as well. So we're really looking forward to that coming about, and we hope that you will continue to tune in so that we can have this type of open dialogue. It is our mission, it is our goal that we can bring men together. And you see one out here, and we have, this is what you see here is real. This we did not know each other maybe a year ago, but we have developed a certain closeness, and just by sharing, just by being able to share our world as me, myself as a man of color, and him as a white male. But they say the common thing that binds us is that we are men. We are family men. We are husbands. We are dads. We are brothers. We are uncles. We are men to the core of our being. That's what we are. And our common connections, our common bonds, our common fears, our common wish and hopes for our families and for our neighborhood and for our country are pretty much the same. And if we can attract men like us to be able to, not just men like us, even if you're men that are different from us, but to be able to share your own views. We want you to be able to call in. We want you to be able to email us so that we can have these real needed conversations about where we are as men and what we can do together. If we can come together as men, we can do a lot to make America a good place for all of us. So let us begin to do that. That is the purpose of why we're here. That is the whole purpose of why White Feather Counsel and Men was created, so that we can have good, open, honest discussions about how we can be better, how we can do things at a level where we all can benefit from. So please, we're looking forward to it. Stay in touch. We will be talking more about this in the future. So take care, have a good time, be good, be safe, and we look forward to you coming back with us in the near future. Thank you.